And today we're going to do a heavy dose of Tanya, of Chassidus, so that tomorrow we will finally slow down a little bit as we finally slow down a little bit as we get to we keep up with the regular pace of Tanya. We've fallen behind, as I mentioned, because of the Pesach and because of double portions, and then there were some very long sections within the double portions. So we're going to learn chapter 52, although it's a lot of deep ideas, but hopefully you'll stay with me. It talks about how do we spoke about in yesterday's class that we learned from the body the way Hashem makes up the world, right? We said just like in the body, the soul, the essential soul is everywhere in the body, but the revealed part of the soul is in the brain. And then the brain will then give energy and life to the rest of the limbs of the body. So the essence of the soul, it doesn't make a difference. It doesn't know a mouth, a nose, or foot. It's everywhere equally. But the part of the soul that's revealed, which is kind of hiding itself to reveal itself, that you don't see its essence, it's letting you know a little bit about itself, that's mainly in the brain, and then the brain will pass it on to the rest of the body. I want to explain there's a lot of interesting ideas. Hopefully we'll be able to clearly explain them. We have to stay focused. We'll hopefully be able to explain them and how godliness comes down into this world. But the idea of revelation is very important. That's why they use light often in Chassidus and Kabbalah to explain something, because the light is just revealing what's already there. Get it? So Hashem is already here. So when we say Hashem's light is in the world, we're not saying that Hashem is making a light to come into the world. No, he's simply revealing a little bit of the fact that already exists, that Hashem is here in the world. That's why we like the word to use light. Like, for example, the sunlight is just letting you know that the sun is there. It's not making the sun be there. The sun's there anyway. But the sunlight is allowing you to see and feel and know that the sun is there. And if the shades are closed, the sun is still there. You just don't know that the sun is there. So Chassidus likes to use the term revelation for this exact reason, because it's revealing that the sun is there. Okay, let's get started with chapter 52 in Tanya, and God willing, we'll do our best to succeed in understanding. Just as by the soul of man, where in the soul of man is the main revelation in the human body, right? Where do you see it? As we explained, even though the soul is equally everywhere, it's mainly, as we're trying to say, in the brain. The brain is the clearest revelation. Again, revealing is in the brain. The brain, you see the seed of the soul the most. And it's just that the brain is the guy in charge, and he's giving out energy and power and life to each part of the body. So he controls the detailed revelation of light that each part of the body is getting, right? The eye is getting the ability to see, and the ear is getting the ability to hear. He's very much in control, and he's the revelation of the first revealed. Remember, light of the soul, that you could see the soul's there anyway, but he's revealing that it should be revealed in a revealed way, and he's making it energy and exist and alive, and that's what the brain then takes that and reveals to the rest of the parts of the body in a very limited fashion. So just like we talk about in the human being, and we're saying we can understand God through understanding the makeup of the human being, the soul, the way it's in the body. So too, literally, by way of analogy, is the main revelation of coming down, revelation of life to the world. It's the same way Hashem creates all the worlds, all the dimensions of the worlds, and all the creations that are within the worlds. And everything comes from, all creations comes from Hashem's brain. So just like all of our energy in our body comes from our brain, so too all of creation comes from Hashem's brain, Hashem's intellect, Hashem's wisdom, which is the first reveal. Again, Hashem is really everywhere, but Hashem's revealing his energy through wisdom, and that wisdom, the intelligence of Hashem, will then go and create all the details of creation of the world in detail from that revelation. So where is that intellect of Hashem? Again, that is from the highest world, the world of Atzilus. Remember, there's four worlds we always talk about in Kabbalah and Chassidus, that the will and wisdom of Hashem is the origination of everything, of all of creation. It comes from, again, so there's 4 worlds. Each world has 10 energies within each world. The beginning of each of the 10 energies, which we keep on learning this idea in Tanya, is the 3 levels of intellect: conception, comprehension, and application. Wisdom, which is wisdom, understanding, and knowledge. That is the source of just like in a human body, the brain is the seat of revelation of the light of the soul. The same thing is wisdom. Kabbalistically, the wisdom and intellectual wisdom, understanding, and knowledge of the first world, the world of Atzilus, is the beginning of creation of the world. And from there, everything comes down. And these wisdom, understanding is what comes out to create the Torah and the mitzvahs. That is the creation of the Torah and mitzvahs. That is what comes out. So where does the Torah and mitzvahs come from? Okay, that comes from that intellect, from the level of wisdom and understanding and knowledge comes to create. That's where the Torah comes from. And the revelation of this revelation that Hashem, this is the beginning of revelation and creation of the world through wisdom, intellect, and understanding, where Chachma Bina Das, Umakar Achayis, that is the source of all life, just like the brain in the body, the source of all life in the body. That the whole world will then go from there, from wisdom, intellect, and understanding, will come down in great detail, a revelation of the godliness of Hashem to each part of the world, to their individual need. But only a slimmer of that light, of that original revelation of light that's there, will come down into creating each world. So just like the sun, I was going to say now, this is exactly like the sun. It's just like the sun shines forth and it gives light to all different rooms. Like I'm in Atlantic City now, you guys are in New Jersey. I mean, we're both in New Jersey, but you guys are in Manalapan or wherever you are around, or some of you are in New York, some of you in Florida. So the sun is traveling and revealing the light of the sun. The fact that you know there's a sun there, it's letting you know there's a sun there by revealing its light to you in all parts of the world. So too, the body is getting its energy from the brain, right? I just like I mentioned earlier. So too, Hashem, through the first revelation, revealing of the light, revealing of Hashem's energy to the level of wisdom, understanding, and knowledge, it comes down and lets everybody know it exists and it's there. So he's going to call that now, very interesting, he's going to get a little bit Hasidic and Kabbalistic on you now and give it a number of names to describe what is it, and this will help us really understand the creation of the world and how it comes down. It gives you a few names to describe this experience of something coming from being hidden to being revealed. Okay, Umakar Zehu Anikra, and this source that's going from revealing God who we didn't know about, didn't know exists, to revealing it, is first of all this original revelation, the brain, like the brain of the human being, the brain of the intellect of Hashem coming into the world. When Nikra Alma Diskalia, it's called the world of manifestation, the world of revelation. It's because it's the beginning of a fact that it's being revealed that there's an existence of Hashem in this world. It's the first beginning of manifestation, meaning that godliness is finally being revealed in the world. So that's one name that Kabbalah and Chassidus Kabbalah will use. It'll call it Alma Diskalia, the world of manifestation, because if it's the beginning of any kind of manifestation, that anything exists, it's revealing that anything exists, is coming from that world. So that's the world Alma Diskalia, which is the first revelation. It's the world of manifestation. That's the exact translation of it. So Kabbalah likes this word Alma Diskalia, the world of manifestation. It's the beginning of the fact that things are trying to manifest and to exist. Another word that we'll use is the Aramaic word of matronisa, which means, translates as queen. It's the queen. Why is the queen this term that's being used over here? Because the queen receives from the king, right? And then tries to fulfill her husband's wishes, goes and fulfills her husband's wishes in details, which maybe the husband's not getting as detailed involved. So the queen is receiving, really, it's not her own energy, the queen is receiving from the king, who's the king, giving her the power, the energy, whatever it is, or so on. And then the queen will go and fulfill in detail her husband's wishes. So this level is the matronisa. We also, another term that's used in Kabbalah and Chassidus is the term queen. Why do we like the term queen? Because the queen is identifying that there is a king there, that there's something deeper, but it's the queen's job to take her husband's will and wishes and figure out how to make it happen and how to make it work. And that is another name that we're going to use to express this idea, to go from the hidden to the revealed and to get into details. Another one is called imatata, mother, the lower mother. What does it mean, lower mother? There's a higher mother and a lower mother, and this is where we're going to get into the term called malchus. Okay, I need you guys there's 2 times which we use the term mother. Okay, there's 2 times which we use the term mother, and there are 2 of the 10 energies that are in each world. Let me just talk about the 2 of them. So one, we keep on saying, is wisdom and understanding. A lot of times you like to call understanding the mother. Why? Why do we want to call understanding the mother, wisdom and understanding? Because wisdom is like almost like a pregnancy, like the father gives the first drop, and the mother then takes that and develops it into a child. So the mother's not coming up with the first seed, the mother's taking the seed from somewhere else, but then the mother's developing it. It's like an idea where some people are very good at having the original thought, but if they have no clue how to express it, understand it, and develop it. So the woman has that unique capability that she's able to take the idea, the deep idea, understand it, express it, reveal it, and so on, like in a pregnancy. So wisdom and understanding, it's the same thing intellectually. There's the wisdom, which doesn't really have the details. And then intellect, understanding, is the bina, is the mother. But then there's another mother. Okay, so that's the original mother, wisdom, understanding, and knowledge, which will create the children, which are the emotions. Through intellect, we create the children. And there's 7 different emotions. Chesed, Gvura, Tiferes, Netzach, and Yesod. They're kindness, and severity, whatever it creates, the intellect creates emotions. The mother and father will create emotions. Fine. But then guess what? After the 6 emotions is another level. And that level is called Malchus. And that is what we're talking about now. Imatata, the lower mother. The lower mother. And what is that lower mother? And this is very important. She's the lowest level. The lower mother is the lowest level of the 10 levels within each world. But why is the lowest level called a mother? So the reason is very simple, because the mother will then be able to cross that bridge in giving energy to the next world. She'll be able to then again create the energy which will come about in creation of the next world below it. That's why she's called, again, the mother is all about having the children. So the lowest of those 10 levels will then give birth, she'll be able to take the energy above her from the higher world above her and then develop and create the world, the new world below it. And that's why she's called mother. So one of the heads of the world are called mother because she's developing that world. But again, there's another mother at the end of each world, which is giving birth to the new world that's below it. So there's the upper mother and the lower mother. We're talking about the lower mother. So far, we have 3 names. We have a name called Alma Diskalia, the world of manifestation, because it's the beginning of any kind of manifestation, right? Then we have a name called the queen, because the queen expresses how she takes from the king and goes and fills in detail the wishes. And we have the lower mother, which takes the world above it and creates the world below it. Then we have Shechina. Then we have, finally, the last name we're going to use today is the word called Shechina. Which means I will dwell among them. What's unique about the word Shechina? It's the ability and capacity to take from something higher and then develop it and bring it to something lower, right? So maybe there's like, we could describe in people. Some people are stuck where they are. Some people know how to make friends or know how to connect with different people. Shechina is this ability to take something from a higher world and go and not just say hi, but dress up, connect, internally have a connection between all the worlds. And that is what we're talking about here when we're talking about the level of Shechina, of connection. So four names, recap again: the world of manifestation, the queen, the lower mother, and the word Shechina, which means to dwell among them, to be able to dwell. And those are the 4 names we're using from creating, going up from one world to a lower world. Hashem Shemakar Zehu Reishis is Gal Saint Saif. And this is world. The original world is called, the first one we described is the world of manifestation. Why is it called the world of manifestation? Because it's the first revelation of godliness in the physical world. It's the first revelation of Hashem in the physical world. That's why it's called a manifestation. It's because the original manifestation of Hashem in the world. Which that is like the brain in the person. That's the original light that shines, that reveals as the queen. Now we're going on to the name queen. That the queen reveals her husband's wishes to the public. So too, it's called queen because also it's revealing Hashem's will, I guess, into the world. It's revealing what the infinite light wants, and therefore we're also going to use the term queen. Now moving on to the next word, which is mother. The level, it's called the lower mother because Malchus, it goes and gives every world and every creation the energy it needs, is just like the mother, that the mother will go and support and teach and help each individual vitality for each individual things it needs. Therefore, it's called mother. And finally, it's called Shechina, that it dresses up in the world below them, because it's able to go down, connect, internally connect with the fourth word we call Shechina into each item. And that's why it's called a mother of the sons, which means it's also the mother's sons. Who are the sons? The sons are the souls of the Jewish souls. That's why it's called the mother of the souls, mother of the sons, meaning the mother of the soul, the Jewish souls. It's also called the Knesset Yisrael, the community of Israel. Because from this revelation will come about the high souls in the highest world of Atzilus, and the souls that come from the next world of Bria. Kulai Einun Rak Mehaspashtus Achais Va'ar Ma'makar Hazeh Nikra Shechina. They all come from the fact that the Shechina, the godliness, vitality, light could lower itself and come and to create the next world. It's just like the rays are coming out of the sun. So now, once we have the first world that can create the emanation, the mother, the dressing up and coming down lower, and the queen, we're able to now have a manifestation to come from one experience to a lower experience, from a higher world to a lower world, from a higher energy to a lower energy, thereby creating the rest of the world. And that is the idea of revelation. So again, it's not that Hashem is putting himself in this world, because Hashem always was here. That's what we're saying. The whole point is, it's like the sun is revealing that there's light, but again, it's the first source of energy and light, and then it needs to continuously, as we're going to learn now, dress itself lower and lower and use the mother element, use the queen element in order to create from the lowest part of the higher world to the new world that's below that, in order to create the revelation and energy that could come about through them. Okay, continuing on, as I said, it's a heavy class today. We're not stopping here. Continuing on, as we're going to learn today, with Hashem's help, chapter 52 in Tanya. Let me just get my next place there, because we're going to the next Chayenu book that we have. Okay, Aval Shechina Atzma. But the Shechina itself, the first revelation, this energy that's going to go down, which is the first and main original revelation, right? Just like we had in our brain was the first revelation of the soul. This revelation that comes into the world, intellectual revelation of wisdom, understanding, and knowledge, that comes down, the first revelation of godliness, that some of the infinite energy is being revealed in the world, which is the original source, the brain of all the worlds, the original energy that's revealed in all the world. That all the lights, the revelations in the world are not godliness coming into our world, because godliness is already here. It's just that the light is being turned on. It's being revealed of what already exists, just like light coming out of the sun. So this light, the problem is it's impossible. It's so strong, this little bit of light that we're turning on the light. It's too strong for the world to be able to comprehend it, right? Imagine the sun. If there was no ozone layer, if there was no, you're not wearing sunglasses, it'll melt the world. So if that original light is so strong, the world can never receive that energy. That in order that the revealed light should be able to really internalize and dress up, go into the world, if there was no shades and no sunglasses, there was no coverings, then it would be impossible for the world to live and exist within that tremendous light. So that the world shouldn't just totally nullify itself, melt away. It's just like the sun that's right here in the room where you are. Take that sun and then put it up. Take the light from the sun and put it next to the sun. You won't even recognize it. It won't exist, because relative to the shine that's the sun itself, the light that's right here in your room is non-existent, right? Relativity, that it's not existent. She'eni Shamar is that you wouldn't see that light. So had you turn on the light fully of Hashem's energy, there's no way in the world would even exist, or you would even see the world, because it wouldn't be able to exist. All you would see is the sun itself, right? You wouldn't see the light that's millions of miles away coming out of the sun, all you would see is the sun itself. Same too, if Hashem would just turn on the light and let you see the revelation, our world would literally cease to exist and it wouldn't exist. So what happened? So how did we get from turning on the light, revealing the light of Hashem's infinite energy, to how are we having the ability, asking the question now, for a world to exist, that it shouldn't totally be fried, it shouldn't be totally be nullified by the revelation of Hashem's energy in the world. That comes through the Torah. So he wants to say the Torah created a very interesting system of degradations where it found a way to manifest itself, which means to dress itself up and be able to come down level to level and hide that infinite energy of Hashem, yet having the light within it, just it's covered up, and find a method and a system in order to come down in levels that Hashem should be hidden enough that it could be revealed, but enough to be hidden that we could exist and experience that too. Where is that? What is that? And we want to say that is Torah. Torah has that ability that it's able to, like I'm just thinking of like a butterfly turns into not to a worm. What's it called? To a caterpillar. So the same way is it's the original thing itself, but it's able to evolve and change and have the original thing inside it and continue to exist as the Torah was. Why? Why is it that Torah has the ability to hide this revelation of the queen, of the mother, of the Shekhinah? Why is Torah so unique that it's able to do it? And the question is, why wouldn't Torah itself explode? In other words, once the sun opens up, it'll just melt everything around it. Why is Torah able to control and handle the degradation and the revelation of godliness? How come Torah is able to do that? And the answer you're going to say is very interesting, because Torah is actually higher than the expression of the lights being turned on, of that energy being revealed. Torah is actually even higher than that, so Torah won't melt. But Torah, even though being higher, has the ability to evolve and change and be able to control that, so I guess anything that's a tremendous energy, to contain that energy, you have to be higher than that energy. So Torah is higher than the energy that's coming out from Shekhinah and so on. So again, where is the queen and the mother, that original creation of the world? That is from the highest world of Atzilus, but the lowest part of the highest world of Atzilus. It's the Malchus. It's the level that wants to bridge the gap from the highest world to the lower, that wants to be the mother and take from the higher world and bring it into the second world, the world of Bria. But in that world of Atzilus, Chachma of it, the wisdom of it, is stronger. The top of the 10 energies is stronger than the bottom of the 10 energies, and being that it's stronger than it, it's able to control it. But it has a uniqueness that it's able to evolve from world to world and be able to hide that light, channel that light, control that real light, and bring it down here into this world so that we could exist and create the worlds below. So he's going to explain the uniqueness of Torah. The Iraisa, because where does Torah come from? Torah comes from wisdom, right? Torah, the origination of Torah is from conception, comprehension, wisdom, understanding, and knowledge. Where is that wisdom from? Well, that's the highest level of wisdom of Hashem. It's the world of Atzilus. It's the highest level of the wisdom of Hashem. The le'ela mi'alma diskalia, which it actually originates from higher than the world of manifestation, right? What's the first term that we use in the Tanya just before? It's the world of manifestation. Okay, you want to manifest, you want to reveal yourself. Okay, so the Torah comes even higher than that, and therefore the Torah is able to control it. It's not going to melt and explode from that energy because it's higher than it. Why? Because as we learned in Tanya a number of times already, that Hashem's wisdom is a hidden wisdom beyond our ability to understand. Right, Hashem, the way He thinks. I remember we learned the class a few weeks ago in the beginning of Tanya. We learned a number of times in chapter 2, a number of places that Hashem is one. We are our own entity, and then we have our wisdom, and then we have the things we think about. And we said, Hashem, it's all one. Hashem is the things that are thought about. Hashem is the thought. Whatever, we spoke about that philosophically from the Rambam, from Maimonides. But basically, Hashem, the wisdom of God is beyond anything. It's beyond even the revelation of our world. So Torah will not be melted, will not explode. It can handle the revelation of Hashem and then channel it because it's actually higher than it. It's one with Hashem. Like we explained earlier, that level of intellect of Hashem, the original in the first world, the world of Atzilus, wisdom, understanding, and knowledge, is actually one with God. It's like not even a creation. It's so one with the infinite energy of Hashem, even though it's the beginning of creation, but it's still so one with the infinite energy of Hashem. It's higher than the revelation that comes out from that first world, Rak. However, at the same time, Torah is the higher than revelation, the manifestation of revelation. Actually, Yarda V'Seisam Redregas and Redregas had that ability, like we're saying, to change, to evolve, like the butterfly to the caterpillar, with the contraction of the world, until it came down so low that it became materialistic, it became physical, which is able to dress up in the physical 630 mitzvahs of Torah. I can tell you literally physical mitzvahs that a person should do because it was able to contract and evolve in this very unique way that only Torah could do. So it comes higher than revelation, and it knows how to channel the revealed energy. It could control it, it could evolve, and it could come down. And by this tremendously talented, unique ability of God's wisdom, which is in Torah and mitzvahs, which is able to evolve and change and control the revealed light. Through that, Kamashchina, it helped the revelation, the light, as we're explaining, that's being revealed. Yarda, it came down and was revealed in every single world. So it helped it controlled downflow of revelation, giving each world the ability of what it needs to create the unique world that it is. Vizel, what is that? And that's what we're going to call, and this is why it's very interesting. We know what's going on in Israel today with the Temple Mount and the Holy of Holies, and we're actually talking about that in today's Tanya. That is the Holy of Holies. That's actually in every world. So we know in our world, we're in the lowest of the four worlds, the worlds of Atzilus, the world of Asiya, the world of material, of physicality. In our world, we say, what's the holiest place? Exactly what the whole world's fighting. It's in the news. Every single news station is carrying the news now. It's the fight over the Temple Mount, the fight over the Holy of, and within the Temple Mount, the Holy of Holies is the holiest place in the world. So it's the Kachim Kachim. Every world has their own Holy of Holies, right? In our world is the Holy of Holies, but every world has, that's the first revelation of godliness from the world above it. So again, the queen, the mother, what we want to call Shechina, the world of manifestation, this idea is that it's as soon as that higher world, the mother, gives birth to the next world, that first original light is called the Holy of Holies, the Kodesh Kodashim, like in the temple, and that is the wisdom and understanding of knowledge of that world that's going to come and be. Like I explained in the Zohar and Kabbalah in the book of Eitzchaim, that the Shechina, this, again, we're using the term Shechina, the evolution, the manifestation, the coming down, Malchus Atzilus, which is the lowest level of the highest world. It's called Malchus, right? That is called the word of Hashem's mouth. Because what does it mean, the word of Hashem's mouth? When you speak, it's to reveal, it's like turning on the lights, right? Of the highest world, the lowest level of the highest world of Atzilus, comes down and creates the highest part of the next world, which is called the Holy of Holies. Just like when you speak, you reveal to the other person what it is in your mind. So that's exactly what Malchus is in the lowest, which is the name of the lowest level of the higher world, to become and to evolve and to become the Holy of Holies of the next world under that. Once it crosses the bridge, it becomes the Holy of Holies of the world under it. It becomes the Holy of Holies of the next world. What's the name of the second world? The second world is called Bria. So Malchus, the lowest of the 10 energies, the lowest of the 10 levels of the world of Atzilus, goes to become the Holy of Holies of the next world of Bria. What does it look like in the world of Bria? Okay, what's the highest level of every world? That's intellect, right? We keep on saying intellect is the highest level of every world, which is knowledge, understanding, wisdom, understanding, and knowledge of the next world. And it goes through the 10 energies within that second world, within the world of Bria, till it goes to the lowest level, which is called Malchus. And over there, once it gets saturated in that second world, to the bottom of that world, over there, Nivro, Hanashamet, Shamalachim, Shababria, is where the souls and the angels will be created of that world. So as we said, only very, very few tzaddikim are souls of the highest world of Atzilus, but many great souls of tzaddikim are in and of great angels are in the world of Bria. So what happens is, again, the lowest level of Atzilus, the mother of Atzilus, of the highest world, goes and brings down the energy into the next world, the world of Bria. which is the wisdom of that world, the intellect of that world, which then internalizes it and becomes part of that second world, the world of Bria, till it goes down to the lowest level, the most physical part of that second world, which is called Malchus, which is the lowest level. And over there, we're going to create now in that second world the identities of that world, the creations in the world, including certain souls and certain angels, and they will be in touch, they'll be internalized, they'll be part of that world, which is that world. Now, what do we know that's in that world is going to say, that's where the Talmud comes from. The Talmud comes from the world of Bria, not the world of Atzilus, because the highest world, there's no intellect there. It's kind of almost beyond there's no understanding there. When you want to go to human, at least the highest level of human understanding, that will come from the level of the second world, from the world of Bria. Once it gets internalized in that second world, till the lowest levels of that world, the world of Malchus, and then it'll start creating these souls and these angels. And even the Talmud that we have comes into that world. The Commission is like I said earlier, in the name of the Tikkunim, the Zohar, in the Kabbalah, Olam HaBriya, that in the world, this second world, the world of Bria, the Irois, Mashpia Sham, Chachmasi, Binasi, Vidaital, Shein Seif Baruch Hu, B'chinat Tzimtzum Atzum, it wants to channel the divine intellect into physical human comprehension. And where is the original human ability comprehension? In that second world, in that world of Bria. It wants to be able to have a tremendous contraction of the world of Atzilus intellect, of the higher world of Atzilus, which is really beyond comprehension of any human being, to the beginning of the first ability of comprehension and physical comprehension in that world of Bria, creating the Talmud that can be created and formed in that world. So the Talmud will come about, which is tremendous, a lot of intellect and so on, will come from this world of Bria, because it's the first original identity of intellect and thought that human beings can understand. That's where the Talmud comes from there. Which Talmud is wisdom, understanding, and knowledge. Why is Talmud wisdom and understanding and knowledge? As anyone who studied Talmud can see, it's the reasons for the mitzvahs with clarity. It's a lot of intellect there. And where does intellect and reasons and understanding come from? It comes from wisdom, understanding, and knowledge. But when you ask, like I tell people, I was discussing with some people the other day, don't ask me the reason, ask me what the law is. You know, there's different classes you could take. You could take a class on Jewish law, or you could take a class on understanding Jewish law. Class on Jewish law is much easier than understanding the reasons behind Jewish law. It's not as much intellect. It's much more dry. Just this is what you got to do. This is what not to do. This is what Hashem wants you to do. This is what Hashem doesn't want you to do. Forget about why. Then we can have another class on really an intellectual class of where it came from and why it came from. The two different things. This is the law, or trying to understand the law. So what about the law itself? Allah is Atzman. In a sense, and we're going to explain this later on in Tanya, but the law itself is lower, is almost seems like a step lower than the Talmud, because Talmud is intellect. Intellect is higher than emotion. Law is going to argue, now very interesting, that law comes from emotion. Why is it that law comes from emotion? So he's going to say, look, let me explain it now, and then we'll get into insights. He's going to say, there's either two major, let's just make it really simple, black and white. It's either allowed or it's not allowed. So which means this food is kosher, for example, it's allowed and it's your mission to elevate it. You should internalize it and elevate this food. Or it's not allowed, don't touch it. This is food that you're not allowed to touch, and it's either allowed or not allowed. What does that remind you of? It reminds you of the two major emotions of one is chesed, kindness, which it's bonding, connection, elevating, bringing it up, and gevura, severities, don't touch it. So the prohibitions all come from the emotion of severity, and the allowed, kindness and giving and connection and lifting up, all comes from the emotion of kindness. So the law actually, like as a computer, zeros and ones, all originates from the emotions of these worlds of prohibited or it's allowed, those two. That from the emotions of kindness and severity come from permitted kindness and isur prohibited. V'akosher v'apaso is this ritually valid? Is this ritually unvalid? Kosher, or chiyuv v'aptur, or it's liable or it's blameless. These all things come from the emotion. As it says in Kabbalah, this idea of where does the law come from? The law, very interesting, comes from the level of that world, but the emotions of the world, not the intellect, and the intellect is higher. So Talmud is higher than Mishnah, even though it would make sense the other way. We're not going to get into that. We will discuss that eventually. But Talmud is intellect, and intellect's higher than emotions that we keep on learning. In every world, intellect is higher than emotions, and therefore Talmud comes from intellect, and the Jewish and the law, which is just a law without getting intellectual about it. This is the law. This is what you have to do. Those are from emotions. Malchus Atzilus with Malchus Bria. So what happens is the first world of Atzilus creates a bridge. The mother goes into create the intellect of the lowest of the high of the first world, creates the highest, the intellect of the second world. But Malchus Atzilus with Malchus Bria. What happens is creating the third world and so on. Each highest of one world creates the lowest of the world. The lowest of one world creates the highest of the world before. Give me 1 second. Okay. So what we have here is an evolution, evolution of items that are the gradation of its going down. And creating more creatures. So what worlds are created in the third world? Okay, so we said the second world are creating high angels and high souls. Well, in the third world is created lower levels of the souls. They're called ruach. That's a lower level of the person's soul. There's 3 levels to one soul. So nefesh, ruach, and neshama. The neshama is from the second world, and the ruach, the second level of our soul, is from this world of Yitzira, where we sang also Mishnah, where the Mishnah comes from, and also lower levels of angels which are created in the third world. So there's angels of the second world, and there's angels of the third world. And in that third world, he's going to say now, that is where the Mishnah, which is lower than Talmud, originates from. That is the Mishnah that we have, the Jewish law, which are not the intellect of the law, but just the dry law, and which originally come from the intellect of Hashem, but here the way it's lowered down, it's just the law, how it is in that world, dry law in the world. But you could then delve into the Jewish law and say, I want to understand the intellect behind it. I want to understand the reason. Don't just tell me the law, and explain me the reason behind it. Okay, now you're going to take that mitzvah, open it up, and bring it up to the second world, the world of intellect, which is the world of Bria. But just the mitzvahs themselves, just telling you what's allowed and what's not allowed. Again, mitzvahs come from emotion, because emotion is permitted and prohibited kindness and severity, and those are a lower level down. That's from the next world. As if you want to look in the Zohar, in the Tekudim, it says in the Kabbalah, the Shis, Sfira, Mekanim, Yitzira, it says there's 6 emotions in the third world, in the world of Yitzira, which really the emotions are, there's many different emotions, there's 6 different emotions, but really we're going to put them into 2 categories, right and left, kindness and severity. The Hekel, Mesiter, the Chesed, when everything is lenient, allowed, that comes from kindness, and Lahatir, because you're allowing it to connect to Hashem, so it's the world of want to connect and lower down and allow things. That comes from kindness. And the Hachmer, to be stringent, comes from the energy of severity. But he says, really, the evolution, you could travel backwards, because everything's within the other thing. So the Mishnah, dig it up, the Jewish law, the emotions, fine, but behind the emotions are intellect. Now go backwards. Behind that intellect is the malchus of the world before it. So everything evolves. If you want, it's a chain link back to the original intellect of the first manifestation and the first revelation of Hashem in revealing the light that's turned on in the original wisdom of Hashem coming out into the world. So everything really goes back to everything. If you want to dig deeper and deeper, you always go back to the original state, which is the wisdom of Hashem, the original manifestation, revelation of Hashem in the world. Till it came down to, as it evolved and came down to our lowest world, our material world, which is called the physical world of Asiya, which is the holy of holies within our world, which is the holy of holies, the Beis Hamikdash on the Temple Mount. Now, even though we keep on saying there's 4 worlds and there's the 10 energies of each world, the highest part of the world, the lowest part of the world, within each world, there's thousands of levels. We're not going through all of them. You know, like when you climb in life and you grow through this. Every day is another growth period that the person goes through. So we're just telling you the general perspective here, but there's thousands of levels until it gets to our worlds, and each world needs its own revelation and light to create the world. Malchus that sees from Lubeshas Malchus Shakol Elam Prati, Yerdedus and Lubeshas Behechel Kach Gedashim, Shuchachma Bin Yerdash Bailam Shalmata Menabem Delega. So what's happening is the lowest level of each world, which is called Malchus, is going in to create the Holy of Holies of the world that it's going down into below it. And the godliness, the Shechina, that manifests itself in the Holy of Holies in every world, which becomes the highest level, from the lowest level of the earlier world to the highest level to the world below it. Klali Prati Nimshach Mispashim and Arbachais Olam Mabruim Shabay Neshavay Samalachim gives life and energy to all the creations that take place in that world. So the Holy of Holies in that world will then be the brain kind of that world and give light and energy to all the creations that come in that world. Because everything originated from the 6 days of creation when Hashem created the world, and with the speech of God, like speech reveals, and it just evolved and evolved using the term Shechina here. We like the term Shechina, which is the ability to go from a higher level and dress up and come down and really connect with the level below it until it created all the worlds that we have. So to recap, I mean, it's a lot, we learned a lot, but just to recap over here, Torah has the unique ability to control it's all about turning on the light, because Hashem is already here. We're all about turning on the light. The original light is a very powerful energy and light. And Torah, the wisdom of Torah, creates the highest level of each world, which then shoots off and give energy to all the other worlds. And it's able to do this because it's able to handle the light, because it's actually higher than the light, but it has uniqueness behind it to share the energy behind the worlds that are behind it. This is the last fast class, God willing. Emir Hashem, hopefully you followed. Any questions or comments? Hope you were able to get some of it, but now we're holding chapter 53, the last chapter of Tanya, and tomorrow at 12 o'clock, we will begin the last final sum up, I guess, what we're learning in Tanya, the last chapter of Tanya. Any questions or comments on today's class?
I got a quick question. I don't know if it's quick. This is the first time I'm learning Tanya. Is it going to go into, because it sounds like it's leading into this, but I don't know, I might be jumping the gun, but it's breaking down every, level and every, how we ended up where we are right now, it sounds like. Is it going to reverse and go back to explaining or helping explain